Good afternoon, good people of Biafra. Good evening, of course, depending from where you hear my voice from. Hope you're all doing good. Hope you're coping with the storm and stress, the topsy-turvy situation in Nigeria currently. Of course, despite the economic hardship, despite all manners of clueless governance, despite all the, you know, the intrigues and manipulative tendencies and characteristics of this government, the Milokan government, the government that says it is my turn. I hope you all still managing to survive the high fuel cost, the high domestic gas cost, the high cost of living on a daily basis. Hope you're all surviving. Unfortunately, that's the reality we are faced in this country that has been described as there was a country by the late prolific writer, you know, and novelist, Professor Chinua Achebe. There was a country. I mean, when a country has lost its value, when a country has lost its genuineness, when a country has lost the fundamental ethos and values that should make it sovereign, that should make it humane, that should make it a habitable place. I mean, when a country can no longer guarantee, the equity, fairness, and justice for its people, when a country can no longer guarantee you habitation, a roof, shelter over your head, when in a country where even getting a meal to eat now is not about 2 square meals, it's talking about something to eat. It means that country has stopped being a country and actually has become there was a country. So, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to put you in this mood. Sorry to remind you of what you want to forget. Fortunately, the reality hitting us on the head that this country has completely comatose. It has completely torpedoed into unexpected, primitive uh, tendencies. Yes, because we see a government that has been completely aloof from its daily, uh, uh, what should be daily activities and daily programs. Unfortunately, we see a people who are carried away by the lust of power. Power. Yeah, they say power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely. Love Daisy. Yeah, that's what we have seen. We've seen a lot of people who have gathered monumental power because, of course, they have stolen from the cookie jar of this nation, of this country, a country that was amalgamated by Lord Lugard in 1914. And we share Lord Lugard, lady friend, if you like, mistress, preferably, you know, called Nigeria, called Nigeria. And unfortunately, since that 1914 amalgamation of the Northern and Southern Protectorate, it has been a story of doom, doom upon doom. It has been a catalogue of woes getting worse and worse by the day. Because, of course, unfortunately, even though the independence was sought and gotten in 1960, the British who were living deliberately played a fast one on total Nigerians. What did the British do? They called the House of Fulani and told them, listen, we are going to give independence to Nigeria, but we are giving you the power, we are giving you the authority, we are giving you the imprimatur, yes, the stamp, the seal to become permanently leaders. We have the population, we have manipulated the national population census to your favor. You have the landmass in the north, you have everything going for you. You continually have higher number of states. So at every point in time, you will be the one to decide who is in the political affairs of Nigeria. We're giving it to you because you have been loyal to us, you have been humble, and you have not given us much trouble throughout our divide and rule administration in Nigeria. Yes, you people were subservient and you received as well. Your serfdom, emirship, and sultanate practices made it easy for us to completely, overtake and overrun this country, Nigeria. Unlike the people in the Southwest, unlike the people in the Southeast who say they are Republicans, especially the Igbos, the Biafrans who say we are, Republicans, we don't owe elegy. We don't owe any allegiance to anybody. We believe anybody can become what they want. We believe anybody who works hard enough can stand out. Doesn't matter if they are, parents were, drivers, gardeners, or cooks, or chefs, if you like. So the British empowered the House of Fulani, gave them that aura, gave them that power, gave them the fact that they could continue to rule as long as they intended. That is why, unfortunately, since independence, the House of Fulani have come out to say, look, we are born to rule. It is either we are head of state or we come as presidents. It's either we're civilian presidents or we come as head of states. Whether they like it or not, this is going to be the scenario back to back until until El Dorado, until infinity. We are born to rule. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's how it is. That's the setup. That's the foundation that has formed this amalgamated country that was called Nigeria in 1914. Unfortunately, I know wherever Lord Lugard now, Lord Lugard and his mistress, yes, and his mistress are now, I believe they will hide in their famous shames. Yes, of course, they have become bones. Wherever they are now, their bones will begin to clack and clinger. Clang, if you like, because they have foisted a very anomalous contraption called Nigeria on different people from different, backgrounds, people of different nationalities that we have compressed forcefully into one country. And of course, it can never achieve any desirable result. That is the fate of this country we find ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Sometimes we have to tell ourselves the truth. And this of course forms my audio of this morning. Yes, because when you remember, you must remember where you started from before you think of where you're going. Whoever does not know where the rain started beating them, would not know where it dried on them. That has been a very powerful, profound proverb from our elders, and verbously quoted always by our own late Professor Chinua Achebe. The man who does not know where the rain started beating him will never know where the rain stopped or ended. So unfortunately, we must remember our history. That amalgamation of that amalgamation of 1914 by Lord Lugard and his mistress, who eventually called this country Nigeria, believing that they were toying like puppeteers. Puppeteers control the puppet, drawing, drawing the strings of a puppet. Anywhere you draw it, the puppet moves in that direction, moves in the other direction, speaks like this, says that, says this. The puppeteer is in control. And that is what Lord Lugard, and his associates did to Nigeria. They began to do contraptions. They began to do magic, playing God with Nigeria. And unfortunately, years later, even 65 years after independence, Nigeria has continued to be a failed, underdeveloped and totally undeveloped country. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning, my audio is based strictly on what a human rights activist, former presidential candidate of uh, Action Congress Party, Moyele Sowore. I want to quote him verbosely, where he said, 20th October will be a tsunami for Nigeria unless MNK is released. Ladies and gentlemen, the audio for this morning is 20th October will be a tsunami for Nigeria unless Nnamdi Kanu is released. Yes, I'm sure you are all very much aware of the ongoing protest, warming up. The feeble protest is growing. People are coming, they are eventually congregating, coming together in different aspects, in different phases. People are coming, the market women are coming, the vulcanizers are coming, the drivers are coming, the civil servants are coming, the politicians are even joining them. Because, of course, when you remember that somebody like the vice president, former vice president Atiku Abubakar, is now, among those who are, hobnobbing and, planning with Omoyele Sowore to embark on the strike. When you know that somebody like Peter Obi, yeah, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, who almost won, if not for the special arrangement, the abracadabra of the last INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud, if it hadn't been for the manipulations of Professor Mahmoud, who was motivated by Emilio Khan, I think Peter Obi would have been, could have been, should have been the president of this country. Unfortunately, that's if wishes were horses. If wishes were horses, of course, we know beggars would ride. Fortunately, that dream, that ambition by Peter Obi and the Labour Party in February 2023 has become a pipe dream. It has become a mirage. It has become a sort of, well, call it a phase. It has become a phase, a mirage, something that is just a conjecture of the mind. Yes, maybe a psychotic experience that never attains any purpose at all. Unfortunately, Peter Obi lost that election. Unfortunately, Professor Mahmoud Waziri, with all the with all his, shout and hula bala about fair and fair elections, with all his claim that he will make the February 2023 elections the most powerful election, the most fair election, the most election with integrity in this country. Unfortunately, like the elephant that was pregnant, when it got to gestation period, it delivered a miserable rat. An elephant delivering a rat. That, to my mind, is the highest level of human wickedness, insensitivity, and cluelessness. So, ladies and gentlemen, the order for this morning is that Omoyele Sowore has come out to say that 20th October will be a tsunami for Nigeria unless Nnamdi Kanu is released. Just like I said, everybody is aware of the permutations in the air. We're aware of people coming, gathering. We are aware that the protest is gathering momentum for the ultimate kill. The ultimate protest will be on 20th October uh, 2025, and they are heading to Aso Villa. Yes, they are taking the clarion call. They are taking the fight. They are taking the protest. Peacefully, if you like, it's still a protest. They are taking it right to Aso Villa. They want to meet Mr. President, the man who said, "It is my turn." They want to see the man who says, Emilio Khan. They want to see the vice president. They want to see the Senate president. They want to see all those governors, those people in high places, the government, who said no to Mazen Nnamdi Kanu's release. They want to know why these people have kept Mazen Nnamdi Kanu in custody back to back now under the DSS, under the DSS injustice, if you like, dungeon, if better, for back to back now for 5 years. They want to know why a man who is sick, that has evidences, have scan reports, have medical reports, have physical evidences that he's sick, his heart is troubled, his liver is dying, his pancreas is dying, he has lumps under his armpit, a man who is so sick physically. On prima facie, you can confirm he's sick, and yet the government is making him undergo trials and mistrials. So, Moyele Sowore has gathered momentum, gathered people. People are congregating. People of high profile. It's not about the Igbo anymore. It's not about only the Wasa people anymore. It's not about only the Biafra people anymore. Now it is the whole Nigeria coming up to speak with one voice. For the first time, Mazen Nnamdi Kanu is the one person who has brought one voice for the first time. It doesn't matter whether you're House of Fulani now. It doesn't happen whether you're the Yoruba or Dudua. It doesn't matter whether you're from the South. For the first time in the history of this country, everybody is talking about MNK. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Everybody is talking about the injustices being done to MNK and to the Biafran people. Everybody is suddenly aware. It didn't matter that they are not Igbos. It didn't matter that they are not Southeast. Everybody is vigorously pursuing, one single thing: the release, unconditional release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and using the personality of Omoyele Sowore, who said, enough is enough. This man is a peaceful protester. He dared to speak to the truth to authorities. He told them what it was, that you can't claim that a war that ended in 1970, where there was no victor, you said no victor. Your head of state then, General Yakubu Gowon, said, no victor, no vanquished. Nobody was defeated. Nobody, won any war. And up to this time, in 2025, you are still treating those people like a defeated people. I mean, where is the truth in your slogan? Where is the truth in your mantra? Dare go on, no victor, no vanquish. And you went alone, went along to establish the 3 R's. Yes, you said, I'm going to reconstruct all destroyed buildings, reconstruct communities. I will reintegrate, I will rehabilitate. Of course, we have seen what the 3 R meant. But of course, as far as Nigeria was concerned, that was just mere rhetorics. The government was just playing lip service. They were just talking for talking's sake, because they wanted their voice to be heard. They wanted international media to read them well. They wanted to be praised. Yes, General Gowon was praised widely all over the world. They said, this man, an articulate head of state, very kind, very magnificent, somebody who said, no victor, no vanquished. He received the Igbos well. Yes, that's what the international press, that was fully being sponsored by Britain. Britain, if you like, sponsored that press, giving Nigeria a bright light. Yes, the Igbos have been pardoned. No victor, no vanquish. The 3 R's: reconstruction, reintegration, and rehabilitation. I mean, it looked like everything was well. That was completely, a charade. It was make-believe. It was make-believe. It became more like a painted sepulcher, a grave that was painted to look like, to seem like, and to give the impression that things were okay in Nigeria. Fortunately, when the Igbos knew they were in trouble was when they were given, immediately after the war, 20 pounds. 20 pounds, no matter, what you are worth, even if you were mocking the fucking millionaire, even if you had too much money, even if you had industries, even if you had factories, it didn't care how much you had in the bank. What you were gifted with was a paltry, a miserable 20 pounds. It didn't matter whether you were married. It didn't matter whether you were single. It didn't matter whether you had 10 children, 5 children, or you had your grandpa, grandma, and parents living with you. All you were gifted, ladies and gentlemen, was a miserable, a paltry, and a godforsaken 20 pounds. So this was what Igbos were gifted. And this is 2025. Omoyele Sowore said, look, why are you hating the Igbos so badly? Why are you treating them with such suspicion? Suspicion. Why are you treating them with such dereliction? Why are you treating them like nobody? Why do you make things difficult for them? Why is it that once they hear an Igbo man's name, everybody turns with hatred, with anger? Everybody turns hoping to deal decisively with such a person. Omoyele Sowore was very pained in the so-called amnesty granted to prisoners, to murderers, to looters of the country, to people who made Nigeria almost completely dead. They were given amnesty. You catch the Boko Haram people who kill, who maim, who destroy farmlands, who kill people, do organ harvesting, who kidnap. And what do? The next thing you do, they are not talking to court. No, you forgive them, you rehabilitate them, and you reintegrate them into the society, paying them enormous stipends, paying them stipends to go back. And some of them are taken straight into the military because, of course, they have learned how to use ammunition. Possibly they know how to assemble bomb-making devices. This is for Boko Haram. The same thing for the Fulani jihadists, who carries his cattle pretending to be a cattle rearer. But every time he's going with his cattle, he has AK-47 hidden under the animals. sellotaped under the animal's belly. And everywhere they go, they are causing mayhem, raping, killing, kidnapping, burning down communities. Everywhere they go is blood, blood, blood. They are shedding blood. And what do you do when you get them? What do you do when you arrest them? You pardon them, you rehabilitate them, and you reintegrate them into the society. I mean, you see bandits everywhere. Bandits from Chad, bandits from Niger, bandits, even outside this country. They come, commit mayhem, kill, rape, burn down churches. And when a Christian dares to retaliate or to defend themselves, like in the case of the man who defended himself in Benue State, and of course he was sorry, he was sentenced to death by hanging for daring to defend himself against a Fulani man who had cut off his ear and stabbed him severally. That gentleman was sentenced to death by hanging because he dared lay his hand on an anointed Fulani jihadist. Omoyele Sowore was aghast at the fact that every time it comes to an Igbo man, whatever he does is blown out of proportion. And every aspect of law, every aspect of the military, the security forces are put in place to make sure such an Igbo man suffers untold hardship and difficulties, just to make sure he's taught a lesson. This has become glaring. It's not just Omoyele Sowore who's saying it. Atiku Abubakar has said it. Yes, Goodluck Jonathan, former president, has said it. Omoyele quoted Goodluck Jonathan telling him, former president is telling him that, look, Nnamdi Kanu's case is really totally unacceptable. What did the man do? Did he kill anybody? He only talked about the plight of his people. He only told the world that the Igbos have been treated unfairly. He told the world and he told Nigerian authorities, if you are not ready to treat my people well, then let them go. Let them go. If you are tired of your husband or your spouse or your wife, you are tired, you go, so that he can move on and you can move on. You don't wait until the relationship becomes toxic, and you start killing each other. We all know what happened in the famous singer, lady who sang, whose voice became one of the best gospel, singers in Nigeria, all over Nigeria. The Igbo lady who sings like anything else. Her gospel song, brings so much joy, piety, holiness, and awe on people. Ifesinachi, unfortunately, Osinachi, unfortunately, she was in a marriage that was toxic. Every other time the husband descended on her, every other time he tortured her, every other time he physically abused and assaulted her. But rather than make it open, rather than yield, take a decisive decision, unfortunately, she continued to bury the whole thing under the carpet until the man finally, at one point, he had so assaulted her, beaten her, gagged her, and she died. She died. That is a relationship that had gone toxic. That is why Nigeria is very much aware of Nnamdi Kanu's case, because they have seen that these people called the Igbo people are like unwanted bride of a Nigerian husband. If you know they are not wanted, if you know this is a bride you are no longer comfortable with, let her go. Don't leave her in that house and bring other women. Don't bring other women to meet her while you treat her with all manners of wickedness, deprivations, and excessive harshness. When you treat her with excessive harshness and you expect her to stay, that is the message Nnamdi Kanu told Nigeria, told them to the face. If you know we are unwanted, if you know we don't deserve to be here, this is the place we were part, we were fundamental who were one of the major foundations, part of the three major big foundations. We had the North, we had the Southwest, we had the South. Our leaders, political leaders, fought for the independence of this country. We fought. We have contributed so much into the economic, social, and political development of this country, physical development. But if you feel that we are no longer needed, we are no longer wanted, rather than continue to pretend to us, rather than continue to marginalize us, rather than to treat us like a defeated people every other time, let us go. Let us go. That was the message of Nnamdi Kanu. And the tag date, enough is enough. Ladies and gentlemen, Omoyele Sowore, human rights activist, has gathered a lot of people, including the former vice president, including President Goodluck Jonathan, former president, and in recent times, basically, almost all the mass media, all the market women, almost all the Nigerians, everybody is asking, irrespective of where they come from. It's not now an Igbo fight. It's not a Biafran fight anymore. It has cascaded down to the whole Nigeria. It is now a Nigeria fight. It is Nigeria. Nigeria versus Nigerians. No longer Nigeria versus Nnamdi Kanu. Ladies and gentlemen, 20th October will be a tsunami for Nigeria unless Nnamdi Kanu is released. And the permutations are there. Already we are getting it. The handwritings are on the wall. Because when you know that a man of God, a man who is gifted with prophetic powers, the man who sees tomorrow, somebody like Father Mbaka, yes, Father Mbaka of the adoration ground in Enugu State has come out, not in the pulpit, not in the church, not in the hallowed, deified, presence of the Holy of Holies. No, Father Mbaka, yes, he moved all the way to the Federal High Court, Abuja, under Justice James Kolawole Omotosho. Yes, the court was being presided by Justice James Omotosho, Federal High Court Judge. Nnamdi Kanu was sitting at as the culprit. Yes, he was sitting at his trial. And guess what? In the full glare of the journalists, of all the people who were there, of dignitaries, in the full glare of the police, the army, and all the security, DSS, if you like, Father Mbaka walked into the church, and everybody, all eyes moved away from Justice James Kolawole Omotosho. All eyes moved away from MNK, Nnamdi Kanu. All eyes moved down to Father Mbaka in his petite form, walking in majestically into the court. And guess what he said? The DSS could not shoot him. The police could not stop him. The court orderlies could not interfere. He walked up straight. Guess what he told them? He said, listen, Justice James Omotosho, listen, Nigeria, listen, everybody. Yes, I am Father Mbaka. Yes, I'm supposed to be at Enugu Adoration Center. Yes, I'm a Catholic priest. But equally, I don't only win souls, I also fight for the oppressed. I have come to take Nnamdi Kanu back home. I have come to take Nnamdi Kanu back home. He has suffered enough. Enough is enough. Let him go. He's a peaceful protester. He has not done anything close to what these jihadists, Boko Haram, murderers, kidnappers, organ harvesters are doing. I have come to take Nnamdi Kanu home. Release him to me right now. Let me take him away and let us end this charade. Let us end this injustice. Let us end this man's inhumanity to man. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe you didn't know that. Maybe you've not heard that. But Father Mbaka had to leave the Holy of Holies in Enugu to go to Federal High Court at Abuja, umpired by Justice James Omotosho, right in the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. He went there on the 16th of October 2025 to demand that Nnamdi Kanu be released to him. Ladies and gentlemen, 20th October will be a tsunami for Nigeria unless MNK is released. It is all over the air. The signs are there. Justice James Omotosho had better listing. You better tell the people who put you there that the handwriting is on the wall. The walls of Jericho will crumble down. The walls of Jericho will fall down unless Nigeria does the needful. Nigeria does very urgently what they should have done way back. Nigeria should release Nnamdi Kanu because he has not been found guilty of anything. He's an innocent man and he's only talking about the plight of his people. The walls of Jericho are going to fall down in Nigeria unless the man who say Miloko, the man who say it is my turn, the Jagaban, unless he does the needful. Ladies and gentlemen, it is better to avoid what is very, very easily avoidable. A stitch in time saves 9. The clock is ticking. Today is 17th. Then we have 18th, 19th, and then 20th. 20th October will be a tsunami for Nigeria unless MNK is released. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think on these things. I want you to remember these things. And I want you to continue to pray for Nnamdi Kanu's health. And we are praying vigorously, and we know Yahweh will answer us, that he will be released unconditionally too. God bless Moyele Sowore. God bless Atiku Abubakar. God bless President Goodluck Jonathan, who has come up to talk about his incarceration. God bless Father Mbaka, who moved, took a big risk, left the Holy of Holies in Enugu State just to go and receive, take back Nnamdi Kanu from the jaws, from the shackles of the DSS and the cabal that runs Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, 20th October will be a tsunami for Nigeria unless MNK is released. Sowore has said it. You guys better act. We'll make Nigeria ungovernable. The markets will close. The workplaces will close. The factories will close. The roads will be blocked unless Nnamdi Kanu is released unconditionally to us. Ladies and gentlemen, people of Biafra, I want to peg it here because I'm still joining the protest now. I need to meet them. We are strategizing. I hope to meet you there. I hope to see you there. Let us keep supporting Biafra. Let us keep winning. Biafra is our country. God bless you all.